Today we're going to go over the best enchantments in Magic the Gathering. And I'm going to start off with one that you may not have even known it was an enchantment. We're going to look at Eidolon of the Great Revel. That's right, it's a creature, but it's also an enchantment. Take a look at it over there. So you can blow it up with Disenchant or something. Red for a 2/2 spirit. It's also a spirit, which I think a lot of people don't even know. Most people don't even know this card works, except it burns them. Whenever a player casts a spell with converted mana cost 3 or less, Eidolon of the Great Revel deals 2 damage to that player. It'll get pumped up by it'll trigger Mausoleum Wanderer, it'll get pumped up by Supreme Phantom in a weird way. Alright, you guys seem to be very excited. Tommy, and also Michael. What? Urza's Saga is trash. What are you talking about? Tommy coming out firing with Urza's Saga. This also is weirdly an enchantment. I feel like this should be an artifact, but it's not. It's an enchantment land, so still also vulnerable to all the enchantment hate. Chapter 1, add a colorless. Chapter 2, create some constructs. And also Chapter 3, search your library for your soul ring. Again, like, someone let me know in the comment section, is this an absolute staple in every single commander deck? Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't play this card. It would synergize with all your other your artifact mana rocks. It can look for soul ring at the very worst. Like, I don't know why this, I mean, it's pricey. It ain't cheap. But you know what? Like, as far as I'm concerned, Modern can push the price of this to that level. Oh, it's on the list already. They already put it on the list, which means it's in reprint zone. But it looks like it's a staple. Urza's Saga is good design, possibly OP for it's absolutely OP. Possibly. Come on, this card is a 10 out of 10. Some people predicted that this card would be banned as of, like, I don't know, 6 months ago. You wouldn't play this card because it's out of your budget. Oh, get out of here. Alpha Nerd with the super chat. Shadow in the Warp. I am completely aware some of you people are just going to name your favorite enchantments instead of the best enchantments. That's okay. Alright, we got a red, green, 1 generic. The first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. That's not bad. And whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, Shadow in the Warp deals 2 damage to that player. So don't be storming off, or you're going to get warped. Warped to death. Oh yeah! Okay, well, here's some huge ones from Chris K. Yawgmoth's Bargain. Tell Cover go blue. Oh no, oh this is CBG. I thought that was CGB. Okay, well, don't tell. Otherwise, you know, I would say tell Cover go blue. I said hi. Okay, black, 4 generic. Skip enchantment. Skip your draw step. Pay 1 life, draw a card. Some would say this is like the most broken of all broken things. Funny enough, it's completely legal in Vintage. You can play with 4 copies of this if you want. And then of course we got the baby version, Necropotence. The card draw engine. This one is restricted. So this is very funny. This card, banned in Legacy, restricted in Vintage, too good for Vintage, but completely legal for Commander. 100% legal. You know, no police around here at all. It's like Commander is like, no, not this one. Yay, Necropotence. We all get to play with Necropotence. The Yawgmoth's Bargain, completely legal in Vintage, but no, that's too good for Commander. Get it out of here. That's really funny. Vintage and Commander have lopsided perspectives of how good or bad these cards are. We got the Blue Bomber. The Blue Bomber with Aura Shards. I don't even remember what this does. Whenever a creature you control enters the battlefield, oh boy, you may destroy target artifact or enchantment. It's the enchantment that beats all the other enchantments. Does that make Aura Shards like the best enchantment in the game? If you want to debate it, you're gonna have to take it up with Aura Shards. What's Approaching Calamity all about? Love Prismatic Bridge. Sounds like some color filtering card. Not an enchantment. Oh, wait a minute. There's another one. Sorry. This is a Seeker God of the Tree. All right. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, we have a legendary enchantment. So, green, red, black, blue, white. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or planeswalker card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. It feels like Cascade, but every upkeep. That is pretty amazing. All right, what else we got? We got Armageddon with the Underworld Breach. It's basically Yawgmoth's Will. That's interesting. You guys think in Commander this is okay? This is totally fine. Well, we do in Modern, so whatever. It's amazing this card isn't banned everywhere. I don't know, maybe there's some reason in Commander it's held in check. It's only a matter of time in Modern. I'm surprised it's lasted so long in Vintage. Or maybe I just don't understand that format well enough. Heliod does count. Heliod does count, Mikhail. It is a legendary enchantment creature god and does a lot of stuff. We got it. It's 5/5. It's indestructible. If your devotion is less than 5, Heliod is not a creature. And whenever you gain life, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature or enchantment you control. Common targets: Walking Ballista and Spike Feeder. Although I'm sure most people watching this, if you heard of Heliod, then you know about those combos. Here's a neat one from Michael. Daybreak Coronet. Arguably the best aura in the game. White, for an aura. Enchant creature with another aura attached to it. So make sure you got Rancor or something. Enchant creature gets +3/+3. First strike, vigilance, and lifelink. Bogle players go burr. That's what it's all about. Bogle players go burr. Abzo with Ristic Study. Okay, now is this arguably like the best? This can't be better than Necropotence. That's just hogwash. Maybe it's like the best blue enchantment in the game. It's so iconic, and everyone knows it's so good, but it's so not ban-worthy. That's how I want to say. I want to say that this is like one of the best enchantments because this will never hit the ban list. It won't do it. Boulder, welcome back. Havoc Festival. Oops, what am I doing here? Well, let's get back to the Ristic Study. Ristic Study draws so many cards. I know it's the blue Necropotence. It's blue Necropotence. I wonder how this card would work in Vintage. You play this out on like turn 1. All right, go do something. You're gonna just draw me a billion cards every single time you play Moxen. Okay. Next we go Havoc Festival. Red, black, 4 generic. Players can't gain life. Not around here. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses half of his or her life total rounded up. Well, that was mean. The Meep Kid. Are you winning, son? Thanks so much for the super chat. It's all about the vibes, Dad. It's all about the vibes. I'm not winning. I'm just reducing my my opponent's life total down by half. All right, what do we got? Hitchhiker, Drowned Secrets. What is this? Blue 1 generic. Whenever you cast a blue spell, target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. Oh, we got mill players in the house. Are there any mill enchantments? I mean, that's one of them. Oh yeah, how do we get this far without Blood Moon? Man, we all have stories about Blood Moon. Blood Moon is a way of life. Some people live by the Blood Moon, some people live against the Blood Moon. My favorite games are the ones where my opponent Blood Moons themselves. They've got like Cryptic Command in their hand, but they opted to play Blood Moon, and then they realize, oh, I got a lot of basics in my deck. I can just keep playing and like completely ignore this card. It don't matter, your Blood Moon worked for me. Blood Moon sometimes works for you, but sometimes it works for me. Blue Bomber, again. Card with a flowchart, chains, oh god. I'm not even gonna read this one, because I still don't even know what this is one of those cards that I gotta play with to know how it works. I mean, I've read this card 20 times. I still don't know how this works. And I really don't care to learn. It's not important to me. Mr. Deadhead, survival of the fittest. Very banned. Actually, it's not super banned. It's completely legal. Everywhere except Legacy. They have no problem with it in Vintage or Commander. The green 1 generic enchantment. This is how you exchange your old crummy creatures for new creatures. Because you pay a green, discard a creature, search your library for a creature card, reveal that card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Go get whatever you want. Levy! Thanks so much, Levy. Oh, I love propaganda. I actually wish they had this in modern. There's a lot of situations where I wish this card existed. I just throw it in my Merfolk deck. Because splashing white for Ghostly Prison, I don't like that. Because then I lose to Blood Moon the moment I go that far. Blue 2 generic. Creatures that can't attack you unless their controller pays 2 for each creature they control that's attacking you. Make people think twice about attacking you. Sometimes people attack me and I'm like, are you going to pay the propaganda tax? And they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess we're just going to untap these creatures. We're going to do something else. I mean, we're going to attack someone else. Attack someone that doesn't tax me. Phyrexian Arena. Oh, this is the baby Necropotence. Or I guess, what do we judge this? Yeah, it's like a baby. I don't know what to call this. I don't want to call it a Dark Confidant. It's like a baby Necropotence. Christopher B with Control Magic. Oh yeah, hold on. If anyone didn't know, at the beginning of your upkeep, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Exchange life for cards. I get it. I guess it's the card draw version of Bitter Blossom. Maybe that's the way I should look at it. Oh, speaking of Bitter Blossom. Speaking of Bitter... Okay, I don't know if this is the best enchantment, but a lot of people will say it is. Black 1 generic tribal enchantment, fairy. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life and you create a 1/1 black fairy rogue creature token with flying. I've defeated almost every Bitter Blossom deck I've ever played against because they just killed themselves with their own Bitter Blossom. It's just how it is. Okay, back to Christopher B. Let's go with Treachery. That's actually an amazing card. True story, I've never won with this card before. I've drafted this card a million times. I have it in my commander deck. It does nothing. I almost want to say it's overrated. In theory, it should be a complete blowout, but in practice, I've done nothing with this card. Are there any cards that you own? Maybe that should be an interesting show. Cards you own that should be good, but have done nothing for you. Super overrated. Oh, we got Penelope. Thanks so much for the super chat. And if you have a card you want to mention, generally you're supposed to say it with the super chat, but I'll take a look. Oh, we got... Oh, you chose violence, Penelope. Choosing violence. Or is it Penelope? I want to say it's Penelope. You chose violence today. Blue 1 generic enchantment. Everyone skips their draw step. No one has draw steps anymore. Oh, sorry, not draw steps. And untap steps. No one has untap steps anymore. At the beginning of your upkeep, sack stasis unless you pay a blue. Gonna have to work around all that other stuff. Approaching Calamity with the super chat. One more. Rabble Rousing. What is this? White 4 generic with Hideaway 5. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards. Put a card from them face down here. Whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures, create that many 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Then if you control 10 or more creatures, you can play the exiled card. Neat! Neat stuff. We got Alpha Nerd here. Finest Hour. Finest Hour. Blue, white, green, 2 generic enchantment with Exalted! 5 mana Exalted. Can't go wrong there. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, which is the point of Exalted, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, untap that creature. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. Sweet stuff. And we got Herbert. Have we done Dream Halls? Oh god, no, we have not done Dream Halls. Okay, let's look at Dream Halls. Are we already at the sponsored segment? All right, we're going to get to Dream Halls. But before we discuss that, we got to talk about our sponsors, FusionGamingOnline.com. My one-stop shop for all my Magic cards. All right, deal of the week this week. Save 15% off non-tournament legal sets. And if you're not even interested in that, you go check out Fusion Gaming every week because there's a new deal of the week every week. And by the way, stack them coupon codes. Use coupon code Nikachu at checkout for an additional 5% off all your purchases. And we're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place, for getting a competitive edge online. Are you a tournament grinder? You want the best and the finest deck possible at every moment, every week. Aspiring Spike makes a new deck, you want to play it? Well, you got to get Mana Traders. Rent those cards and send them back when they're no good anymore. That's how you get that competitive edge, and you can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_EK2. And now back to Dream Halls. The Halls of Dreams. Okay, Dream Halls. Blue, 3 generic. Rather than pay the mana cost for a spell, its controller may discard a card that shares a color with that spell. Who wants to pay mana? Paying mana is for suckers. Hold on, does that mean you can't discard Emrakul? Because Emrakul's colorless, and there's no color that shares Emrakul. I wouldn't know. The Monocle Rogue. All right, we talked about propaganda. Now we're going to talk about Ghostly Prison. Ghostly Prison. White, 2 generic. Creatures also... propaganda in white. Propaganda in white. Pageman 3. Wilderness Reclamation. Mwahaha. Bring the toxicity. Anyway, Temur Reclamation was one of my favorite decks. Sad we didn't perform in the Mythic Championship with it. I mean, it's still a playable card. Still playable card. It's only banned in Pioneer and Explorer and Historic, apparently. All right, it's banned in a lot of places. Still legal in Modern, though. That's the format that matters. Green, 3 generic enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control. Double the mana. It's a nice way to it's a cheesy way to double that mana. You can float that mana at end of turn, by the way. Then it untaps everything. You can get more stuff. Mr. Lejo 1. Oath of Druids. The Oath. Have you taken the Oath, everyone? What's going on here? What's the whole point? Are they like summoning a creature from nothing? I've never really I mean, in the old days, if you take too much time to try to interpret the art, nothing makes sense. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player chooses target player who controls more creatures than they do, and then you reveal cards on the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put it directly on the battlefield. This must be great in Commander. Okay, you have more creatures than me. Great, I'm gonna look for a creature. Oh god, it's each player's upkeep. This is chaos. This is absolute chaos. If each player's upkeep, that player chooses. Okay, well, I'll choose you. Well, then I'll choose you. Well, then I'll choose you. Some random dude says humility. How humiliating this is. My brother found this in a pile of scrap nonsense that was at a thrift store. White, 2 generic enchantment. All creatures lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 1/1. It was in beat-up condition, though. We're talking through the dryer stuff. But, hey, humility. Reserve list card is a reserve list card. King Ginger with the Starlight Spectacle. Starlight Spectacle? The hell is this? Pretty picture. White, 2 generic enchantment. Parade! At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose creatures you control one at a time until each creature you control has been chosen. Each of those creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature chosen before it. Oh, this is complicated. Afternoon, Gaming Bob. I like this one, Christopher. Mind over matter. One of my favorite cards because it's super deep in the devotion of blue. They don't make cards like this anymore. Is there any cards that are like 5 blue? Is there even a single one? I'm not sure. Blue, 2 generic. Choose and discard a card. Tap or untap target artifact, creature, or land. with a zombie, or what's it called? Arcanus the Omnipotent. That's infinite card draw. That's infinite card draw. Okay, what do we have? John here with the super chat. Thanks so much, John. Fiery Emancipator. Madness in the right decks. Fiery Emancipation, sorry. Fiery Emancipation. Red, 3 generic enchantment. If a source you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals triple that damage to that, oh god, to that permanent or player instead. That's a lot of damage! That's a lot of damage. Trapper Dan, Nature's Will. The hell is this? It is an enchantment, green, 2 generic. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, tap all lands that player controls and untap all lands you control. That's pretty good. That's actually a really good card I've never heard of. That's another way of doubling your mana. It's like, it's Wilderness Reclamation in some sense. In a way. In Commander, there's always going to be, there's always that person who's open, right? Always someone open. Chance Curtis, Omniverse. Is it Omniverse or Omnivore? Hold on. Omniverse. Doesn't exist. Moving on. We've got Alpha Nerd again with the super chat. Transcendence. Oh, white, 3 generic. You don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. When you have 20 or more life, you lose the game. Oh god. You don't lose the game, so... It's the reverse life totals. Whenever you lose life, you gain 2 life for each 1 life you lost. What?! This is a weird card. You don't lose the game for having 20... When you have 20 or more life, you lose the game. This actually... So, if you donate this card to someone in Commander, they just die, right? This is actually a very interesting card, because you can use cards like, you know, there's, I mean, donate's not the only one. You just give this thing to somebody, and it's over. Because you have 40 life, probably. We have Turayawat with Fable and Mirror Breaker. A card that was probably broken from day one, but nobody knew. And now it's just a staple in every format. It's like a planeswalker as far as I'm concerned. Josh with the super chat. Thanks so much. Tainted Remedy. Do a tainted remedy. Tainted Remedy. Black 2 generic. If an opponent would gain life, that player loses that much life instead. Going for that infinite life drain combo, huh? I hear ya. I hear ya. Matt with Allurin. Allurin? No. I know what you're talking about. Oh, this one. It's only 1 L. Who would have known? Green, 2 generic. Any player may play creature cards with confirmed mana cost 3 or less without paying their mana cost, and as though they had flash. My brother thought this was so strong that it should have been banned in at least 1 format. It's banned in nothing. Strong card, though. No one denying that. Okay, well, what do we have? Am I missing any super chats? Just gonna go back for a second. Nope. Oh, we got Levy here, though. Thanks so much, Levy. Second chance. Second chance for a very cool card. Blue 2 generic enchantment. During your upkeep, if you have 5 or less life, sacrifice second chance and take an extra turn after this one. If you're still alive. What if you're dead? Then you only get 1 chance. This is like one of those on the brink of death. Stanel. Illness in the ranks. This is that. Oh yeah, creature token gets. Oh. You don't like your token opponents, do you, Stanel? You don't like your token opponents at all. Bitter Blossom, eat your heart out. And then we got GWJ here. Meat Hook Massacre. Why doesn't this card see more play in Modern? Like, it sees no play in Modern for a card that's, like, super busted in Standard. Generally speaking, if a card is really, really, really good in Standard, it's going to see play somewhere else. I don't even really see it I don't even see it play in Pioneer all that much. Enters the battlefield, each creature gets -X/-X, and whenever a creature you control dies, each opponent loses a life, and whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you gain a life. It's pretty good stuff. No one said it couldn't be a creature. Oh no, well, I started this whole thing off with Eidolon of the Great Revel. So Dryad of the Elysian Grove. What is it? Oh, just put Dryad of the... I put Dyrad. Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Insane card. Green 2 generic, 2/4. Way better than, what's it called? Can't remember her name. Puts 2 lands in play. There's only 1 land, but lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. 100% legal. 100% legal. Mark Zilla with asceticism. Asceticism. I was not spelling that one correctly. Green 3 generic. Creatures you control can't be the targets of spells or abilities your opponents control. What a pisser. And you can pay a green 1 generic, regenerate target creature. This is basically like, alright, you play some sort of control deck of some sort. Well, meh. Up yours. I got asceticism here. No touchy-touchies here. Sneak and show. That's an archetype. That's not an actual, the sneak attack, however, is an enchantment. For a red 3 generic, pay 1 red. You can put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Sack it at the beginning of the next end step. That's okay, because you probably sacked your entire board. Hive Mind is a pretty awesome card. I'm surprised this card doesn't see more play anywhere, because it's such an easy combo with like Summoner's Pact or any pacts for that matter. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, each other player copies that spell. Each of those players may choose new targets for his or her copy. So if you combo this with like Summoner's Pact, for example, any of these pacts, you can take the red pact, the black pact, you can counter your own pact with Pact of Negation. Your opponents get copies of them, and they're not gonna have any targets. And but they're going to have to pay the price for them anyway, and then they get screwed. Did we miss my super chat? Did I miss something? How far was it? Oh, we did have something. We're gonna give you the big one here. Larsa with Goblin Bombardment. I knew I missed someone. I went to look back. I didn't go back far enough. Red 1 generic enchantment. Sack a creature. It doesn't even have to be a goblin. Just sack a creature. Goblins will sack anything these days. Goblin Bombardment deals 1 damage to any target. With 1 motion, a pest is removed and a scourge inflicted. Did I also miss Daniel? Nothing beats Divine Intervention. Going back. Oh, how the hell does this work? White 6 generic. Enters the battlefield with 2 intervention counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove... Oh, this is that game as a draw card. What a bizarre card. Alright, I got all the old ones. Sorry, guys. I do my best around here. You guys love these types of shows. Alright, Josh, Sylvan Library or Doubling Season? Yeah, the Doubling Season. Let's go with Doubling Season. Double it up. Isn't it like the card of all cards? What is this? Holy moly! Look at those prices. $87 for this card? Isn't this just a jank card? Oh no, but you can like combo pretty hard with this with commanders, right? So you put Doubling Season, then you play like certain... Sorry, not commanders, planeswalkers. So you put the planeswalker on the battlefield. It doubles the counters, and sometimes you just go infinite right there. So I guess there is some practical, competitive strategy here. If an effect would create 1 or more tokens, it doubles that. But if an effect would put 1 or more counters on a permanent, it doubles that as well. OPM with a Shark Typhoon. I don't look at this like an enchantment. I look at it as this weird cycling token maker, but yeah, technically it's an enchantment. If you cycle it, you make an XX blue shark creature token with flying. Make your Sharknado. What does it even do as an enchantment? I barely know. When you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying where X is that spell's converted mana cost. Very rare do we go down that road. The Monocle Rogue. Thanks so much for the super chat. Glare of Subdual. The Glare. White, green, 2 generic enchantment. Tap an untapped creature you control. Tap target artifact or creature. So it's like tap an untapped creature you control. Tap target artifact or creature. This is just a crappier opposition, which also goes with the oh man, this is a crappier image of opposition. This is one of my favorite cards of all time. Too bad it sucks. Or not. I don't know. I'm not gonna say it sucks. It's like it's a really good card. It's just hard to make work. Like competitively. Blue, 2 generic, tap an untapped creature you control. Tap basically anything, artifact, creatures, or lands. So in this one, you have to pay 2 colors to get 1 less of the effect. Unbelievable. Dancing Odie, thanks for getting back into Magic. Thanks for getting me back into Magic, Nikachu. Been using Mana Traders to play Pauper. That deserves another one. Hold on. Go play some Pauper. Although those cards are not too expensive. Unless you're playing mono blue. If you're playing fairies, some of those cards are stupid. Especially the Red Elemental Blasts are pretty stupid expensive. Oh my goodness. Jeskai Ascendancy. I hate this card. I hate playing against this card. White, red, blue. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Untap those creatures. Now, those creatures can be mana dorks that will help you cast future spells. And whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you can draw a card, and if you do, discard a card. So it's a looting infinite. It's an infinite mana-making machine, an infinite looter, as long as you can keep looting for forever. Absolutely hate. The worst part about this card is it's trying to keep track of everything your opponent is doing. And it makes the creatures bigger. So you have to keep track of that. And then if my opponent plays another creature in the middle of the turn, then you have to keep track of how big that creature is compared to everything else, because they all get bigger at a different rate. Really awful. Brandon with the super chat. Thanks so much. Tainted Remedy for people that abuse extort. Oh, we did this one. But yeah. If an opponent would gain life, that player loses that much life instead. Oh, you want to use this against the extort people. How rude of them. Oh, thanks so much for the super sticker, Alfonso. Although I can't see it, but everyone else did. Brandon Hall with a super chat. The artifacts out lately, Stony Silence. Put an end to them. Make them real quiet, really fast. Our activated abilities of artifacts can't be activated. And Alpha Nerd with Mariah... What's it called? Mirari's Wake? Mirari's Wake. Oh yeah, this one. White, green, 3 generic. It's a Lord! Creatures you can control get +1/+1. Whenever you tap a land for mana, double that mana. Or add 1 mana of any color. Sorry, not just double that mana. Add 1 mana of any color of that type, that land. Add 1 mana of any type that land produced. Bring back limited resource. Drake Haven. This is like some sort of... Whenever you cycle or discard a card, you can pay 1. If you do, you get a 2/2 Flying Drake. Yoshu! Cabaretti Revels for Bustedness. Cabaretti Revels. Green, red, enchantment. Whenever you can... Is this a real card? Or is this... This has to be alchemy. Yeah, it's only alchemy. Whenever you cast a creature spell, seek a creature card with lesser mana value than put onto the battlefield. Oh my god! What are they doing in alchemy? Must be complete... Like, must be a completely busted format. King Jinner with Nyx Bloom Ancient. Is this any good? Well, someone probably thinks this is good. Green, 4 generic for a 5/5 elemental enchantment creature. Trample. If you tap a permanent for mana, it produces whoa! 3 times as much of that mana instead. That's broken. Hey, during the X-Cost stream, you said that Shark Typhoon didn't count and we should bring it up in the enchantment stream, so don't come complaining. I didn't complain. I just didn't know what it did. I didn't complain. Markzilla with land tax. Oh, this is an all-time. This is a banger. At the beginning of your upkeep, if an opponent controls more lands than you may search your library for up to 3 basic land cards, reveal them, then put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. I'm sure there must be some combo with this, where you don't even put the lands on the battlefield, but you do it with, you use it for nefarious things. MTG Gaming Bob with Dream Halls. Oh yeah, this card. Oh no, we did this one. Oppression, says some random dude. Oppression. Black, 1 generic. Whenever a player plays a spell, that player discards a card from his or her hand. That sucks! That feels brutal. Whenever a player plays a spell. Oh, I guess if you're empty-handed, then it just doesn't matter. When a player plays a spell, that player discards a card from his or their hand. Get empty-handed real quickly, people. Okay, we got, damn it. I don't know my Japanese so well. I used to be able to pronounce that. Blood Moon. We did Blood Moon. But just for you, we'll look at it again. It's a double Blood Moon day. Am I missing any other super chats in between? We did Mirari's Wake. Mirari's Wake. Mirari's Wake. Ryan. Thanks so much. Sterling Grove. Oh yeah, that is. I mean, it doesn't even need to be in an enchantment deck. I mean, if you have a deck that just has some key enchantments that you want to find, you're going to want to have the Sterling Grove. Because, first off, other enchantments you control have Shroud, but you can pay 1, sack it, search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, then shuffle it and put it on top. It's basically, it's a tutor. It's like demonic tutor, but for enchantments. Smolby. This is very much not the best enchantment, but I love Mael's Aria. Don't worry, a lot of people have already mentioned a lot of cards they love. Mael's Aria in the big dumb creature decks. How does this work? Okay, white, green, red enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. If you control a creature with power 5 or greater, then you gain 10 life. If you control a creature with power 10 or greater, then you win the game. If you control a creature with power 20 or greater. Achievement unlocked. Daniel, Grip of Chaos. Thank you so much for the super chat, by the way. Rage Quit Machine. Grip of Chaos. Red, 4 generic. Whenever a spell or ability is put on the stack, reselect its target at random if it has a single target. Do I have a sound effect for this? Danger. It make a game very hard to play. Very hard to play. The Dubiela with Primal Vigor. I hope everyone appreciates. I'm trying to get around to everybody. Everyone get a shot. Hey, this show is worthless without all of you, so I really appreciate a bunch of new faces suggesting things. Green, 4 generic enchantment. If 1 or more tokens would be put onto the battlefield, twice that many of those tokens are put on the battlefield instead. So it's like is this like a poor man's? Okay, forget it. I thought this was going to be like a poor man's doubling season, but this is still pretty expensive. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be placed on a creature, twice that many. Oh, so it is like doubling season, except it doesn't affect planeswalkers. You put twice that many +1/+1 counters on the creature instead. Matthew with Ranger class. You know, I just want to go this. Why does everyone love this card so much? This is a really popular card. This is one of those, like, how do I put it? Like, community-loving cards. And there's a battlefield. You get a 2/2 green wolf token, but you have to sink more mana into these other abilities. And then it's not even. I'm not even in love with any of them. Armageddon with the Sphere of Safety. Sphere of Safety. Nothing will protect you from Jackal Hops, though. Creatures can attack you or planeswalkers you control unless their controller pays X for each of those creatures, where X is the number of enchantments you control. This, as far as I'm concerned, is the Ensnaring Bridge of Pioneer, because I played against this and I basically had to scoop immediately. Mr. Kasugai, Exploration. Let's get our Dora the Explorer vibes on. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Truth be told, I've never seen Dora the Explorer. When I was a kid, I saw Lamb Chops. I actually didn't even watch Barney when I was a kid. Do they still have Barney? Is that still a thing going on? They just change the person in the outfit every generation? I mean, I watched a lot of cringe, you know, children's cartoon stuff, but I couldn't watch Barney. Even at the age of 6 years old, that was just not for me. Not for me at all. Okay, there's a million super chats I have to get through here. Okay, what are we starting with here? We got the Blue Bomber. Thanks so much. In honor of the new Phyrexian, in honor of the new set Phyrexian on Life. True story. Phyrexian on Life. You don't lose the game for having 0 or less life. As long as you have 0 or less life, all damage is dealt to you as though its source had infect. This, you know what? Okay, so this is pretty good in a combo deck, but you could also use this to peeve off the burn players. It says 3 mana, gain 10 life, effectively. Or a little bit more if, like, some of the, you know, if you have only one. How does it work? I'm just gonna move on. You basically effectively gain 10 more life against a burn player. Humzika! Thanks so much for the super chat. Sylvan Library. Sylvan Library. Where's the library? What happened? I just see someone with a ukulele. Someone told me it was ukulele day today, so I guess it fits. All right, green 1 generic. At the beginning of your draw step, you may draw 2 additional cards. If you do, choose 2 cards in your hand drawn this turn. For each of those cards, pay 4 life or put the card on top of your library. Seems like a complete... Where's the library? There's no library here. And I don't see books. Josh with the super chat. Thanks so much. Skrelv's Hive. White generic at the beginning of your upkeep. Oh yeah, the new Bitter Blossom. You lose 1 life and create a 1/1 colorless Phyrexian Might artifact creature token with Toxic 1. This creature can't block. Corrupted. As long as an opponent has 3 or more poison counters, creatures you control with Toxic have lifelink. So you're not going to die to your own Skrelv's Hive. This could be a big card. You know what? The more I think about it, this could be a big card. I brushed it off because it's just another Bitter Blossom, but you know what? If you can gain life out of these things, and they block really well, right? Toxic 1. Does Toxic 1 put poison counters on the creature? Or like -1/-1 counters on the creature? I'm not sure. Brandon Hall from my old zombie decks. Endless Ranks of the Dead. Endless Ranks of the Dead. Black 2 generic. At the beginning of your upkeep, create X/2/2 black zombie creature tokens where X is half the number of zombies you control rounded down. We got a lot of super chats I got to get through. 69 of something. Did we do counterbalance? Nope. We didn't do counterbalance. Blue enchantment. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, reveal the top card of your library. If you do counter that spell, if it has the same converted mana cost as the reveal card. The combo with the Sensei's Divining Top. The top of all tops. And one huge super chat from Jason Sweet. No card, just sending some heat from Winnipeg. Oh, it is cold outside. It is -38. I had to go get my hair cut. And just stepping outside for just a few seconds was miserable. It's awful. You look at the time. I mean, February is always the worst, in my opinion. Thanks so much for the super chat. Smallby with a super chat. As a commander player, burgeoning in... Or is it burgeoning? Burgeoning in multiplayer. Green. Whenever an opponent plays a land, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. So doesn't this just make everyone play their lands? So whenever an opponent plays a land, so I play a land, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield, but then shouldn't it trigger other people? So basically everyone just blurts their hands out. All the lands onto the battlefield. Michael with Seance. Yeah, this weird card. White, 2 generic. Someone offered Bitcoin to play this card at a pro tour. At the beginning of each upkeep, you may exile target creature card from your graveyard. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a spirit in addition to its other types. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step. Even got reprinted in Modern Masters. That's hilarious. They got so screwed. MTG TV with All Hallows Eve. Isn't exactly a spiky card, but it's a lot of fun with great flavor. And some people like to play it because it's a reserve list card. Black, 2 generic. Exile All Hallows Eve with 2 Scream counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, if All Hallows Eve is exiled with a Scream counter on it, remove a Scream counter from it. If there are no more Scream counters on it, put it into your graveyard, and each player returns all creature cards from his or her graveyard to the battlefield. Actually, that's a pretty powerful effect. It's a pretty powerful effect. Oh, I like this, what PM said about the Sylvan Library. It's the audiobook version of the library. Makes sense. Toxic is aka Fair Infect. Yeah, I know. They can't block? Was that the deal? Oh, I didn't even read the damn thing. No, but if you block it, it can happen. Yeah, it's minus 38 Celsius. With the wind. With wind chill. It's like minus 29 without the wind. It be cold here. I live in Hoth. Alright, Alpha Nerd, thanks so much for another super chat. Forced Fruition. Oh, is that the draw 7 cards thing? I just remember you draw a lot of cards. Whenever an opponent plays a spell, that player draws 7 cards. Interesting. Very interesting card. Oh, it's your enchantment. It's only for you? With burgeoning? Oh, I see. Whenever opponent, you may play. Okay, it's not anybody. Although it is, it will be a pain for everyone else. It's like a super exploration. Yeah, the burgeoning only lets you play lands not symmetrical. Happy Masks, dress down. Also known as pants down. Because like, I always thought this is called, for a very long time I thought it was called pants down, because he doesn't, it looks like he's losing everything. Turns out he's lost everything but his pants. Blue 1 generic flash, enters the battlefield, draw a card. Creatures lose all abilities, and you gotta sack it at end of turn. But it's a weird card. It ended up seeing an incredible amount of play because it's just an answer to anything that normally you wouldn't have an answer for. John Doe King with the Parallel Lives. I sold my Parallel Lives. Oh, did I sell too soon? The Historic Horizons? No, they didn't reprint this card. I thought they were gonna reprint this card for sure. It didn't happen. I mean, there's like a Judge promo, but that don't count. Oh man, I was sitting on that for a year. Okay, so anyway, green through. I think I sold it for like 25 Canadian dollars. I hosed myself. If an effect would put 1 or more tokens onto the battlefield under your control, it puts twice that many of those tokens onto the battlefield instead. Whatever with Moat. Very strong card. But also makes no sense. It should be creatures without flying or island walk can't attack. Like, why is it that my merfolk can't attack your castle? Wait, you don't think merfolk can swim? Oh no, all of a sudden there's this water here. The purpose of any moat is to impede attack. Some are filled with water, some with thistles. Oh, I guess that's what it is. It could be a moat of thistles. Which in that case, the merfolk won't get through that. Some are filled with things best left unseen. Great card. Francis C. with the super chat. Helix Pinnacle is with tokens that tap for mana. The Pinnacle. Oh, this is just a way of winning the game, right? Green, Shroud. So for any of you out there with an infinite mana, you don't know what to do with it, you're gonna use it on the Helix Pinnacle. Put X tower counters on Helix Pinnacle at the beginning of your upkeep. If there are 100 or more tower counters on Helix Pinnacle, you win the game. Put 69 counters on it. Nice. I'm gonna put 420 counters on this on the stack. Christopher likes all the bonds. Did we do fast bond? Let's do mana bond. Green, at the beginning of your end step, you may reveal your hand and put all land cards from it onto the battlefield. If you do, discard your hand. Well, that... Okay, well, that was a price to be paid, I guess. Brandon Hall with the super chat. Painful Quandary. Quandary. Painful Quandary. Black, 3 generic. Whenever an opponent casts a spell, that player loses 5 life unless they discard a card. Take one or the other. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna look for someone who's never said anything. Japoi! Planar Chaos. Red 2 generic enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, flip a coin. If you lose the flip, sack it. But wait, whenever a player plays a spell, that player flips a coin. If he or she loses the flip, counter that spell. There's a 50-50 chance your spell's gonna resolve or not. It's like facing Two-Face. We're gonna flip a coin on this. Heads, you live. Tails, you die. Limer, lethal vapors. The hell is this? Black, 2 generic. Whenever a creature comes into play, destroy it. Okay, then why do I even want to put it in play? Pay 0, destroy lethal vapors. You skip your next turn. Any player may play this ability. So some people will be like, okay, I'm tired of this lethal vapors. I'm gonna sack my next turn for it. Mighty Tortilla. Did we do Omniscience? I don't think so. Or as I like to call it, Omniscience. Blue, 7 generic. You may cast spells from your hand without paying their mana costs. All you have to do is cheat this thing in play, because you're not... If you can cast this, then you can cast anything as far as I'm concerned. Cloud Parter. Nikachu. Has Thopter Spy Network been looked at yet? Worked great for me with Sphinx's tutelage. We have not looked at it. Thopter Spy Network. I know this card. I like it. What is it? Deal damage, draw cards. I love anything that has that ability. And you make tokens. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control an artifact, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. You see, that's how you make a Bitter Blossom. I don't lose any life, and I get the 1/1 anyway. And you get this. Whenever one or more artifact creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. That's beautiful. Underrated, in my opinion. Underrated. Joshua with Wild Pear. The hell, what is this? A rhino and a worm? Green, 4 generic. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, you can search your library for a creature card with same total power and toughness and put it onto the battlefield. Ah, twins. If you do shuffle your library. Interesting. I guess you can play indestructible creatures with lethal vapor. Says Aaron. Yeah, you could. It would work. It definitely would work. Yeah, Allurin should be banned, says my brother. But we looked at it already. It's funny, Vincent, no one has mentioned any of the ley lines yet. Leyline of Sanctity. I was like wondering when someone would mention one. White, 2 generic. If Leyline of Sanctity is in your opening hand, you may begin with it on the battlefield. Let's just look at all the ley lines. Leyline of. Here, just go Leyline of. We got Leyline of Abundance, Anticipation, Combustion. What is this? Leyline of Life Force. Then Leyline of Lightning, Punishment, Sanctity. Actually, okay, let's only look at the good ones. Think Abundance, Anticipation, Combustion. I don't think Life Force is any good. Punishment is good. Sanctity is good. Singularity, I think, sucks. Void is good. You could give an argument to Vitality. That's all I'm going to give. Anticipation is my favorite. Ooh, Anticipation. Everything has Flash. Christoph Turner with the Bootlegger Stash. Hands off my stash. Bootlegger stash. Green 5 generic. Lands you control have tap, create a treasure token. That's broken. Did that end up being broken? You know what? It's not very expensive. So did this card actually end up being broken, or was it just fair? Everyone was freaking out like, oh, this is a new Commander staple. We're going to break the format. But maybe in the end it didn't do anything. Defense of the Heart for EDH is good, says Nick. The green 3 generic enchantment. During your upkeep, if one of your opponents controls 3 or more creatures, sacrifice Defense of the Heart, search your library for up to 2 creature cards, and put those creatures into play. Shuffle your library afterwards. Sweet stuff. That's an art. What was an? Oh, bootlegger stash was an artifact. Oh, illegal. Illegal. I got finessed. Nikachu doesn't even realize when he gets I got finessed big time. I can't remember. There was one video like I completely whiffed on something. It's like, that's not this. It's a creature. Yeah, I'm a fool. It happens. People make mistakes in chat, then I make the mistake. Zavi, Curse of the Pierced Heart. Boo, 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 boo. Blue 1, sorry, red 1, enchant player. At the beginning of enchanted player's upkeep, Cursed of the Pierced Heart, deal 1 damage to that player. It's like a Chandra emblem, right? But for only 1 person. It's a curse. You have been cursed. What is the? Oh, it's his heart on a hook. I got the heart there. 6 Baku, Mirror Maid. Nope. We have not done that one. Blue 1 generic. You may have Mirror Maid enter the battlefield as a copy of any artifact or enchantment on the battlefield. Sweet stuff. You know what this reminds me of is Standstill. Gotta love Standstill. Whenever a player plays a spell, sack Standstill. If you do, each of that player's opponents draws 3 cards. Nice in an all creature land deck. Just play all the creature lands. Approaching Calamity. Thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, me again. Hey, that's okay. At $2 at a time, you can show up as many times as you want. Arcane Bombardment. Red 4 generic. Whenever you cast your first instant or sorcery spell each turn, exile an instant or sorcery card at random for your graveyard. Random! Then copy each card exiled with Arcane Bombardment. You may cast... Oh, what? So this accumulates? You may cast any number of the copies without paying their mana cost. That's crazy. Can we do funny card, Form of the Squirrel? What is this, an unglued card? The Form of the Squirrel. Green enchantment. As Form of the Squirrel enters and comes into play, put a 1/1 green squirrel creature token into play. You lose the game when it leaves play. Oh God! Creatures can't attack you. You can't be the target of spells or abilities, and you can't play spells. But you get your squirrel. Your life force is bound to the squirrel, and the squirrel survived. Trying to make some sort of a Lord of the Rings reference there. Vigil is Fear, recurring nightmare. Black 2 generic. It makes me realize there's a lot of great enchantments in Magic the Gathering. I don't even think we've touched like half of them, and the show's almost over. Black 2 generic. Sack a creature, return recurring nightmare to its owner's hand. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate this ability only anytime you could cast a sorcery. Alright, Leyline Binding. Of course. The new ultimate removal spell. Basically 1 mana flash, exile any non-land permanent. I mean, it's technically 6 mana, but 1 less for each land type that you have. What do we... Let's get one. Christopher, you're just like naming random enchantments. Let's go with Paradox Haze, because I think I've heard of that one. Paradox Haze. Enchant player. At the beginning of enchant player's first upkeep each turn, that player gets an additional upkeep step after this step. That is a weird card. I never even heard of that one. So bizarre. Have we covered... Oh, we didn't do Thassa. There's 2 Thassas. I'll look at this one. This one's okay. It's indestructible, and you scry one at the beginning of your upkeep. And for 2 blue, you can make a creature unblockable. But also there is the other Thassa, which is also good. Deep Dwelling. That blinks things every single end step, and you can pay a blue 3 generic to tap another target creature. Man, we had so many good cards. We didn't even get we didn't even get to half of them. So many good cards today. But that's the end of the show. Every Coffee and MTG has to come to an end. Maybe we'll do another one of these, like best blue enchantments or something, because it seems like there's way more enchantments than I thought there were in. There's way more good enchantments than I thought there were in Magic the Gathering. All right, you want to be part of the show? You got to be here Monday to Friday, 11 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks to everyone who showed up this afternoon/morning, depending when you watched. Thanks everyone for supporting the channel very much with your super chats. Anyone who's a member or is a patron on Patreon, if you want to support the channel, either do it with a super chat during the stream or find links in the description to join me on Patreon. But most importantly, thank you everyone for showing up in the morning. Thank you PM Abzo 6 Baku. We got Zavi, Zick, Ghostly, Ryan, Michael, Pedgeman, Mark Zilla, Joel, Trapper. Where's King Ginger? King Ginger! Always showing up in the morning. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here, because without you guys, I have no show. I got nothing. I'm only as powerful as all of you. So as usual, keep brewing up those coffees, my friends, and we will keep brewing up